15. Yeah. Next question, Timothy.
Okay, so moving on now. Is a bit more technical. What are GLP-1 agonists? How are they used to treat obesity and diabetes?
The infamous ones, the GLP-1 agonists. So glucagon-like peptide-1 agonists. First of all, at the start of the exercise, I remember I told you that I'm going to do 2 exercises which work antagonistically to each other. So pull-ups, pulling for your back versus dips, pushing for your chest. So they work in the same plane antagonistically. So GLP-1 receptor agonists, agonists means they work not in the opposite fashion, they actually work together. So they work in the same way. So glucagon-like peptide 1 is a protein which attaches to certain receptors, causing your pancreas to produce more insulin. That insulin helps to reduce your blood sugar levels, especially after meal. That's the main action of glucagon-like peptide 1. Now, glucagon-like peptide 1 agonists are drugs which mimic that action, so they act in the same way. They bind to that receptor and cause a similar effect to increase the amount of levels of insulin to help reduce the blood sugar levels. And reducing blood sugar levels ultimately that's one of the things which they do. So in that context, they are used as type 2 diabetes drugs. But then in higher doses, they are also used as weight loss drugs. And in that context, how they work is they reduce on the speed at which your stomach empties its contents. So if your stomach empties its contents into the small intestine, and those digested food contents are then absorbed in the small intestine. If your stomach can reduce on the rate at which it releases those contents into the intestines, less food is absorbed in a certain amount of time. So that's one of the mechanisms by which it is going to help aid with weight loss. But also, they can also act centrally. Centrally means to your brain to help reduce an appetite. If it's slowing down the amount of food, the rate of food entering your small intestines to be absorbed, so reducing on the amount of food which gets absorbed, but then also reducing on your appetite, it's again working on the eat less phenomenon. Eat less, burn more. Remember I talked about that, which is not the right phenomenon about weight loss. Yeah, it's hormones. So it's premised on that. Again, if somebody has been eating lots of food, lots of junk, and they start doing this, taking these shots, they may work initially. They may work initially. For the person who has been starving themselves and tries taking these drugs, the highest likelihood is that they won't work. Or if you lose the weight, most of it is going to be muscle. Actually, there's a paper which came out which said that with Ozempic, for example, I think the most common GLP-1 agonist now, the rate of muscle loss can be as much as 40% of the total amount of weight lost. Which means if, say, you lost 10 kilograms over time, you can end up losing 4 kilograms of muscle in that time. You don't want to be losing 4 kilograms of muscle. And that's why, look at anyone who takes these GLP-1 agonists. Look especially at the cheekbones. You'll most likely begin seeing those creases, those, call them creases or whatever, being prominent. You most likely begin seeing the bones prominent. Look at the eyes. They may look a little bit sunken. So look at the nature of their skin. Look at their upper arms. If somebody is thin, you understand, different from actually being leaned out, that's normally where you lose muscle fast. Normally it's at the face and then the upper arms. So just look at them in those regions. Yeah, so these GLP-1 agonists, in low doses, they are used to treat diabetes. For example, semaglutide is a generic drug. In low doses, it's sold commonly as Ozempic and used for type 2 diabetes. In large doses, it's sold as Wegovy, which is now used for weight loss. But I know I don't know what's being used here, like in Uganda. I don't know if they're giving people Ozempic, the lower dose, or Wegovy, the higher dose. But that's how it should be. Then some people also go with another drug called tirzepatide, which in low doses is Mounjaro, and that's used for type 2 diabetes treatment. Then in large doses, Zepbound, that's normally used for weight loss. So the higher doses are used for weight loss. Yeah, but again, they're not addressing the root cause. like they're not addressing the root cause, and these particularly associated with increased rate of muscle loss. But also on the long term, there are other, in the mid to long term, there are other potential side effects. Increased risk of pancreatitis, inflammation of the pancreas, increased risk of thyroid tumors. These are things which are documented. Yeah, you don't want to be, I don't know, do you want to be putting yourself at risk of some of those things? Again, and yet, they don't address the root cause. The root cause really is ignorance, lack of discipline. And then that spills over into you not being able to eat the right food. Yeah, so plus, I mean, the other thing, some people get reaction again at the injection site to the injections. Those may be a little bit lesser of side effects. But then also, because they they slow down on the rate at which your muscle empties its, sorry, not your muscle, your stomach empties its contents into the intestines, as I said. So you begin getting gastrointestinal symptoms. So nausea, bloating, cramping of the intestines. So that discomfort, you could even feel like reflux and all those kinds of things. Yeah, like, do you want to be losing muscle? Do you want to lose weight and you look weird? Do you want to, is that what you want? If that's what you want, again, just like with my clients, we never force them to do anything. But like my clients know, I'm very direct with them. As politely as possible, I'll tell them, can I be honest with you? Yes, yeah. So if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. Either way, we are here to support you. But you made an investment to work with us. Do you want, yeah, what do you want to do? Yeah, and we'll be direct with them, because at the end of the day, 4 months or 6 months, whatever time they have signed up with us will end. And if they have been doing things which we didn't tell them to do and they weren't getting the results which they want, yeah, I feel bad because you don't make progress, yet the system works. But on your part, you've wasted time, you've made an investment. Yeah, you also lose. Yeah, so choice is yours.